if you work with someone that you've already done the pushing through the foot or the, yeah? So if you know yesterday you were working with someone where you were, yeah, pushing through the foot, it will be a little bit easier. Okay, so what we're going to do, number one, you're going to observe their walking. And what do you notice? So what are some of the things you could be looking for? Which leg, and then once you've got which leg they like to spend more time on, what would you look for? So maybe where their head goes in space. Yeah? So these are the relationships that you're sort of starting to build up. So if I want to spend more time on one leg, where's my head more likely to be? Oh, it's going to be over the leg that I spend a lot of time on. Huh? Because that's the leg I know how to organise to stand on. Huh? I'm not saying it will be that, but can you start looking for, you know, so I notice they're a long time on one leg, so what are they doing that makes sense through the whole system that they would spend time on one leg? What other things could you look for?
I look for things like how they move through their back.
Yeah.
The difference between the left and right in their torso from the back.
Mm-hmm. So if we were looking for the difference between their left and right, you know, clothing tells you a lot. Where's the creases? Yeah? Or maybe I've got to crease one side and not the other. Crease one side, not the other. Crease one side, not the other. Huh? Not just bad dressing.
So what about swinging of the arm?
In relationship to... So again, get this bigger... So, you know, I'm really... So, where do they come from? Their elbows? Do they come from their shoulders? Do they come from their torso? Are they doing a lot with their upper torso and not much with their lower torso? Are they doing a lot with their lower torso and not much with their upper torso?
If they were swinging one arm more than the other, would that indicate that they're spending more time?
I don't know.
Maybe.
But that's a great question. Do you know what I mean? That's where you're heading to. Do you know what I mean? That's where you've sort of got to start looking. What other things could you look for? Yeah. Are they looking to the horizon as they walk? Or are they looking down to the ground? How easy as they're walking do you think it would be for them to look around themselves? I'm just giving you ideas. What doesn't seem to be involved in their image? And that's one of the things that we did. That's one of the things that we did that I'd really encourage you to do. We only did it with flexion extension, and we only did it in these positions. But you could easily add side lying, sitting, standing to these. And really look at how much of them is involved in different orientations. Because it's this ability to take time to assess, to take time to observe in more and more positions that's really going to help you work out what a person needs to understand. So that you can really, you know, you've got someone at home and you just go, well, what do they do different in all of these orientations? That's where I'd start. Yeah. But you can do this with side bending, you can do it with rotation. Huh? So what would you be looking for walking backwards? We've talked a lot about homolateral, contralateral, homologous. So a lot of people, when they walk backwards, turn homologous. Huh? They go forward and they've got contralateral. You say go backwards and all of a sudden they go... Huh? So these are just questions. I'm not saying that there's an answer, but it's the quality of your questions. It's the quality of you being able to... So what's another thing? If we thought about orientation, you know, are they really are they going forward, or is there more components? In my forward? No? Where are they on their feet?
You said orientation was how you move.
Orientation's direction, yeah, it's through space. It's how do I move to the right? When I move to the right, do I just move to the right, or do I do this? And these are just things for you to start investigating. What does it mean? What other things could you look for?
Whether there's tendency for lateral flexion or...
Planes of movement, absolutely, yeah. Whether they hold this more, say, homologous, and then just doing, yeah, this down here. Are they really? Yeah, that's the model walk. Okay, so, and the more you can do all these on yourselves, all of these different walks, yeah, all of these different ways moving, the more you can observe, but your observation can also inform what's possible for you, things that you haven't thought of doing. So you're going to observe someone walking. And, you know, this is where your learning comes in. If I look at get too many things, do I just get confused? And usually you'll get confused if there's something not tying it all together. So you've got all this information, you've gathered all this information, but you haven't put it together, you haven't processed it into a pattern. Yeah. Into something that's got more meaning.
Do you ever look at anyone and can't see anything?
No, really.
My younger boys, sometimes I get them down and I think, oh, I just touched them and suddenly they sort of correct it and I think, oh, that's...
So if you can't see, that's when you need to put them in more positions. Because all it's saying is that in lying, my observation skills aren't that good. But maybe they're better if I get them in sitting. Maybe I see more when they're walking. Maybe, yeah? So that you're finding through observing them in many different planes, many different orientations, that something wakes up in you. Yeah? That gives you some more clues that then when you lie down, something's happened that you go, oh, now I can see something in lying as well. I would say that the easiest way to see something is not when they're static. That's how we start. You know, we observed someone in lying. Now, what do they do? But if you really want to see their real self-image, get them to move. Yeah? Get them to move, get them to walk, get them to...
Just on that, Julie, like in real life, if you were seeing someone, they said, oh, when I'm sitting at my desk, I get all this pain here. Would you actually get them to sit at a desk and watch what they do?
Absolutely.
Replicate the real world.
Absolutely.
I think I would show them so that they can do something and come back to it.
And I'd be noticing do they have less mobility somehow when they're in sitting? Yeah. than when they're standing or walking, or, you know, is there something about that position itself, that orientation, that they've learned to shut particular things down? So again, you know, the more you can observe, the more in more and more different ways, even if you don't know sometimes what you're observing, just give yourself more perspectives, give yourself slightly different ways of looking at something. Okay, so once you've observed that, you're going to go to lying with the person, doing what we were doing yesterday. For the first bit, because you're assessing still here, not doing, just take just a moment. You know, really, this should take no more than 2 minutes. You're just saying, can I find a standing foot? Have they got some oscillation? It's an assessment. Then you're going to think of a position you're going to work in. And before you do anything, you're going to sit and think, what am I going to explore here? What questions am I interested in asking about this person? Absolutely. Or if you're not sure what happened to them, so Joel just said, is it based on how the movement's going through them? You know, you might want to go, oh, they look like they've got a fair bit of sort of counter rotation. Maybe I'll explore something they already do easily and add more and more bits to it. What's their foot? Is their foot involved? Is their ankle involved? Is their knee involved? Is their hip involved? Are more vertebrae involved? Is the ground involved? Yeah? And that's where it's often, when you go with something that's easier for them, you can build a bigger picture for them. Yeah? So I would probably tend to go with something that at the moment that's more apparent, maybe in their walking. Yeah? But again, you know, my questions are how much can every part of them, the ground, both. So if you've got them on the side, it's really easy to think it's just the top hip. It's never the top hip. You can't move one hip without the other. But if you give them the message that that's what you're trying to do, can you imagine what that would feel like if you leave out the bottom hip? You're going to then come back to this and see what's happened. And I'm going to time you here, okay?
How much time have we got for each section?
I'll be telling you, yeah? Saying enough. So this isn't going to be huge, okay? Don't have too many questions. You don't have to get it all, you know?
So if you were me and highly anxious, you'd go, where do they move most easily? Can I add one more thing onto that? And that would actually...
2 things would be great.
2 things would be great. I'm not clear on the standard footies. I know what you do when you find it.
No, this is just what you were doing yesterday.
Yes, so you're finding where it's light and then finding 3 directions.
That's what we...
Thank you. Is that it?
I'll go over it with you.
Thank you.
Lying back to 2 and then you're coming back to their walking and trying to observe what's different in these ideas. Yeah, because all of the things we mentioned are to do with these factors. And is there something about their self-image that's different? That's more nebulous, you know, but is there something generally that's changed in the way they are in the world? Don't have to put words to it, but just something different. Okay, off you go. You never? No?
I think I asked you one question about finding the standing foot. If my upper leg is the one that never goes down, so it's not really meant to be this finding